Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back. In our previous lecture, we learned how to write discussion paragraphs. Today, we will build on that foundation by focusing on two crucial parts of your research paper that often do not get attention they deserve: the conclusion and citations. These two sections are what give your paper its final shape and academic integrity. The conclusion allows you to wrap up your ideas with clarity and impact, while citations reflect your honesty as a researcher and show that your work is built on a credible foundations. By the end of this session, you will know how to craft a strong conclusion that leaves a lasting impression on your readers and how to correctly cite your sources using Council of Science Editors or CSE style. Let us begin with how to write an effective conclusion. The conclusion is your final opportunity to bring all your ideas together and show your reader what your research has achieved. First step in writing a conclusion is to summarize your findings. You should do this in a brief, clear way, dedicating about one or two sentences to summarize each body paragraph of your paper. This summary is not the place to introduce new information. It is only to remind the reader of what you have already discussed. For example, if your paper explored the effects of social media and productivity, mental health, and attention span, your summary could sound like this. This study found that social media use can both enhance and hinder productivity, with excessive use correlating strongly with lower attention spans and higher stress levels. This type of summary captures your main findings while keeping it concise and relevant. Once you have summarized your finding, the next step is to restate your thesis. Restating your thesis does not mean repeating it word for word from introduction. Instead, you should keep the meaning the same, but change some of the words so that it feels fresh and natural. For instance, if your original thesis was social media negatively affects students' productivity, you could restate it as overall, social media use tends to reduce students' efficiency and focus in academic settings. Both sentences say the same thing, but the rewording helps your conclusion sound polished and thoughtful. The third step is to discuss the limitations of your research. Every study had some kind of limitation, and acknowledging them shows that you are aware of your boundaries of your work. You can talk about possible biases in the study you used or about the constraint of your own analysis. For example, if your work was a literary analysis rather than an experimental study, you might say, since this research was based solely on previously published studies, it may be limited by publication bias and the absence of hands on data. Statements like these do not weaken your research. In fact, they show intellectual honesty and critical reflection, which are qualities of strong academic writing. After addressing limitation, the final step is to tie everything together. You can do this by pointing to a general theme or trend, asking a meaningful question, or sharing an interesting fact that connects directly to your topic. For example, you could end your paper with a sentence such as social media continues to intertwine with everyday life, understanding its long term cognitive effects become increasingly essential. This kind of closing statement leaves the reader with something to think about and clearly links back to the ideas in your paper. Throughout your paper, make sure to use transitions such as in summary, overall, or ultimately to make your writing flow smooth and natural. Using transition words, which are recommended here, help your writing flow better. Recommend using them between each step, but not a hard and fast rule. Add them into the paragraph where you feel it is choppy and does not flow. Now that we have covered how to write a conclusion, let us move to the second part of our session, which is about citations. Citations are the foundation of research writing because they show your honesty and depth of your study. We can cite sources for several important reasons. First, to give credit to the original authors and researchers whose work we have used. Whenever you build upon someone else's ideas, acknowledging them is not just polite, it is ethical. Second, citation prove that your work is evidence-based and credible. They show that your argument are supported by reliable research rather than personal opinion. Third, citation help others follow your research trail so that they can read the same studies and explore the topic further. And finally, citation help you avoid plagiarism, which occurs when someone uses another person's ideas or words without proper credit. Plagiarism, even if unintentional, can seriously damage your credibility, so learning to cite correctly is essential. In this cohort, we use the Council of Science Editor or CSE style, which is commonly used in biology, medicine, and environmental science. This CSE style has two main parts, in-text citations and the reference list at the end of your paper. In-text citations in CSE are written using author name and year of publication, and they are placed at the end of the last sentence that contain information from a particular resource. For example, as mentioned in this slide, photosynthesis increases under strong sunlight, and in the bracket you can mention Lee and Patel 2021. Then at the end of your paper, you create a reference list on a new page. Each source you cited appears there alphabetically by the first author's last name. You can make this process easier by using free online citation tools as MyBIB or Citation Machine, which automatically generates citations in the CSV format. Next is acknowledgement. Publicly thank individual and organization who provided support or assistance during the research process, but whose contribution don't warrant authorship. A good place is to start to include your mentors, anyone who helped with peer editing, and people who provided you resources for this program. There is no hard and fast rule on how to write this, and even if you need to write it, but you should write a little something to thank people who helped you out. About 2 or 4 sentences max will be enough. Thank you.